You already know they're bad for you. You've known it for months, maybe years. Your friends have told you. Your family has told you. That little voice in your head has told you 1,000 times. And yet here you are, still holding on, still checking their messages, still hoping they'll change, still making excuses for someone who makes you feel small. Why? What is it about pain that feels so familiar, so strangely comfortable, that we keep choosing it over peace? Today we're going to dig into something that most people never want to face. We're going to look at the real reason you can't let go of someone who hurts you. And I'm going to share some ideas from the philosopher AlanWatts that might completely change how you see your own attachment patterns. This isn't about blame. This isn't about making you feel worse than you already do. This is about understanding yourself at a level most people never reach. So here's the uncomfortable question we need to start with. What if the problem isn't them? What if the problem has never been them? What if the reason you keep holding on has nothing to do with love and everything to do with something much deeper inside you? Let me explain what I mean. AlanWatts was a British philosopher who spent most of his life studying Eastern philosophy and trying to explain it to Western audiences. He had this way of taking complicated ideas and making them feel simple and real. One of the things he talked about a lot was the idea that we don't really know ourselves as well as we think we do. We walk around believing we understand our own minds, our own motivations, our own desires. But what's would say that most of what drives us is completely hidden from our conscious awareness? Think about that for a second. You believe you know why you do what you do. You believe you know why you stay in relationships that hurt you. You might tell yourself it's because you love them. You might tell yourself it's because you've invested so much time. You might tell yourself it's because you're afraid of being alone. And sure, those things might be partly true. But Watts would tell you that the real reasons go much, much deeper. Here's something Watts said that really stuck with me. He said that we are like someone who has forgotten that they put on a mask. We've been wearing this mask for so long that we've forgotten it's even there. We think the mask is our real face. And when someone comes along and starts to pull at that mask, we panic. We fight. We hold on tighter. Not because we love the mask, but because we're terrified of what's underneath. Now, what does this have to do with toxic relationships? Everything. When you're in a relationship with someone who hurts you, something strange happens in your brain. You start to believe that this pain is normal. You start to believe that this is what love feels like. And the longer you stay, the more you forget what peace even feels like. The pain becomes the mask. And letting go of that person feels like letting go of yourself. I want you to really sit with that for a moment. The reason you can't let go isn't because you love them so much. It's because somewhere along the way, their treatment of you became part of your identity. Who would you be without the drama? Who would you be without the fights, the tears, the endless cycle of breaking up and making up? These are terrifying questions because most people don't have answers to them. AlanWatts talked a lot about the ego, and I know that word gets thrown around a lot these days, but let me explain what he actually meant by it. The ego, according to Watts, is basically the story you tell yourself about who you are. It's the collection of beliefs, memories, experiences, and ideas that you've put together to create a sense of self. The ego says things like, I am a strong person, or I am someone who loves deeply, or I am not the type to give up on people. Now here's the problem. The ego doesn't care if the story is making you happy. The ego only cares about being consistent. So if you've built an identity around being the one who stays, the one who fights for love, the one who doesn't abandon people, then leaving a toxic relationship feels like a threat to your entire sense of self. Let me give you an example. Let's say you grew up watching one of your parents stay in a difficult marriage. Maybe they told you that real love means sticking it out through the hard times. Maybe they praised themselves for not giving up, and you absorbed that. You made it part of your story. Now, as an adult, you find yourself in a relationship where you're being mistreated. Logically, you know you should leave. But emotionally, leaving feels like betraying everything you believe about who you are. This is what's meant when he talked about being trapped by our own minds. We create these mental prisons for ourselves, and then we wonder why we can't escape. But the prison isn't real. The walls are made of thoughts. The bars are made of beliefs. And the key has been in your hand the entire time. So why don't you just use the key? Why don't you just walk out? Because there's another layer to this that we need to talk about. And this is where things get really interesting. AlanWatts had this idea that human beings are fundamentally afraid of emptiness. We're terrified of the void. We're scared of what happens when we have nothing to hold on to. And this fear drives almost everything we do. We fill our lives with noise, with activity, with relationships, with drama, anything to avoid sitting alone with ourselves in silence. When you're in a toxic relationship, as painful as it is, at least you're not empty. At least you have something to feel. At least you have someone to think about, to worry about, to fight with, to make up with. The relationship gives you a purpose, even if that purpose is just surviving until the next argument. And here's the thing that most people don't want to admit. Sometimes the pain itself becomes the purpose. You get so used to the cycle that you don't know how to live without it. The anxiety of wondering if they'll call becomes your normal state. The relief when they finally do becomes your version of happiness. It's a terrible trade, but it's a trade your nervous system has gotten used to making. Watts would call this a kind of spiritual addiction. And I think that's exactly the right word. You're addicted to the emotional highs and lows. You're addicted to the uncertainty. You're addicted to the hope that maybe this time things will be different. And like any addiction, the thing you're hooked on is slowly destroying you. But here's what Watts would also say, and this is important. He wouldn't judge you for it. He wouldn't tell you that you're weak or stupid or broken, because he understood that this is simply what human minds do when they're not aware of what's happening. We get caught up. We get lost. We mistake the map for the territory, the menu for the meal. The map is all your ideas about love and relationships. The territory is the actual experience of being alive, right here, right now. And most people spend their entire lives looking at the map without ever stepping into the territory. So how do you break free? How do you finally let go of someone who's been hurting you? The first step, according to Watts, is awareness. Not the kind of awareness where you just acknowledge that the relationship is bad. You already know that. I mean a deeper kind of awareness. The kind where you start to see all the hidden motivations that have been keeping you stuck. You need to ask yourself some hard questions. What am I really afraid of? What do I think will happen if I leave? What does staying give me that I'm scared to lose? And you need to be brutally honest with your answers. Not the answers that make you look good. Not the answers you'd give your therapist. The real answers. The embarrassing ones. The ones you've never said out loud. Maybe you're afraid that no one else will ever love you. Maybe you're afraid that being alone means you're not worthy of love. Maybe you're afraid that if you leave, you'll have to face all the things you've been running from. These fears are real. They're powerful. And they've been running your life from the shadows. But here's what Watts would tell you. The fear is not the problem. Running from a fear is the problem. When you try to escape from fear, you actually give it more power. You make it into this giant monster that controls your every move. But when you turn around and face it, when you really look at it, you start to see that it's not as big as you thought. Watts used this beautiful image of trying to smooth out water with a flat iron. The more you press down, the more ripples you create. The only way to get smooth water is to leave it alone, to let it settle on its own. And your mind works the same way. The more you fight your fear, the more turbulent it becomes. But when you just observe it, when you just let it be there without trying to fix it or escape it, something interesting happens. It starts to calm down on its own. This is one of the hardest things for people to understand. We're so used to the idea that we need to do something, that we need to take action, that we need to fight our way out of problems. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop fighting. Sometimes the most powerful action is to simply be still and watch. Now, I'm not saying you should stay in a toxic relationship and just observe it. That's not the point. The observation I'm talking about is internal. It's about watching your own thoughts, your own fears, your own patterns. Because once you truly see them, once you bring them out of the shadows and into the light of awareness, they lose their power over you. Let me share another idea from AlanWatts that I think is really relevant here. He talked about the difference between a genuine decision and a forced decision. A forced decision is when you try to make yourself do something through willpower. You grit your teeth. You push through. You use all your mental energy to force yourself in a certain direction. And it might work for a while. But eventually, you run out of energy. And you snap right back to where you started. A genuine decision is different. It happens naturally when you truly see things clearly. You don't have to force yourself to take your hand off a hot stove. Once you feel the burn, you just move. The action happens automatically because your understanding is complete. And this is how real change works. Not through force, but through insight. So the question becomes, how do you get to that level of insight about your toxic relationship? How do you get to the point where letting go isn't a struggle, but a natural movement? Watts would say it starts with stopping. Stopping the constant analysis. Stopping the endless conversations in your head about what you should do. Stopping the negotiating, the bargaining, the hoping. Just stop. And in that stopping, something has space to emerge. You see, your mind is like a muddy pond. When you keep stirring it up with all your thinking and worrying and planning, you can never see clearly. But when you stop stirring, the mud settles and the water becomes clear. And in that clarity, you can finally see what's really there. What you might see is that you've been using this relationship as a way to avoid yourself. You've been so focused on them, on their problems, on their moods, on their behavior, that you've had a perfect excuse to never look at your own inner world. And that's terrifying, because your inner world might be a place you haven't visited in a very long time. But here's the beautiful thing that Watts always emphasized. When you finally do go inside, when you finally do face that emptiness you've been running from, you discover that it's not empty at all. It's full. It's alive. It's the most real thing there is. The emptiness was just another illusion, another trick of the mind, another mask. What you find underneath all the fear and all the attachment and all the pain is something that Watts described in many different ways. He called it your true nature, your original self, the person you were before the world told you who you had to be. And this self doesn't need anyone to complete it. It doesn't need drama to feel alive. It doesn't need someone else's approval to know it has value. This is the self that can love freely without clinging, that can give without expecting, that can be in a relationship without losing itself. And this is the self that you've been protecting with all your toxic attachments, because some part of you knows it's there, and some part of you is afraid of what it might mean to fully step into it. Stepping into your true self means taking responsibility for your own happiness. It means you can't blame anyone else for how you feel. It means you can't wait for someone else to change so that you can finally be okay. It means growing up in the deepest sense. And that's scary. It's so much easier to stay small, to stay stuck, to stay in the familiar pain of a relationship that hurts you. But here's what I want you to consider. What if the pain you're avoiding by staying is actually smaller than the pain of staying? What if the thing you're so afraid of on the other side of letting go is actually freedom? What if everything you've been telling yourself about why you can't leave is just a story, and not even a true one? AlanWatts had this phrase that I love. He said that we're all just pretending to be separate individuals, when really we're all part of one big dance. And when you're stuck in a toxic relationship, you've forgotten that you're dancing. You think you're just trying to survive. You think you're just trying to get through each day without too much damage. But you're not surviving. You're dancing. And right now, you're dancing a dance that doesn't feel good. The question is, are you ready to change the dance? Are you ready to step into a new pattern? Because you can. At any moment you can. That's the thing about dancing. You don't have to wait for the music to change. You can change your movements right now. But I need to be honest with you about something. Changing the dance isn't a one-time thing. It's not like you have one big insight, and suddenly everything is different forever. It's more like a practice. It's something you do again and again, every day, every moment. And there will be times when you fall back into the old patterns. There will be times when you catch yourself reaching for the phone, wanting to send that text, wanting to go back to what's familiar even though it hurts. And that's okay. Watts would say that's completely natural. The point isn't to be perfect. The point isn't to never struggle again. The point is to be aware, to see what you're doing while you're doing it. Because that awareness, that simple seeing, is what creates the space for change. Let me tell you something that might sound strange at first. The person who's been hurting you is not your enemy. They're not the villain of your story. In a very real sense, they've been your teacher. Now, this doesn't mean you should thank them and go back for more lessons. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that the resentment, the anger, the hatred you might feel toward them is another form of attachment. As long as you're consumed by how much they hurt you, you're still bound to them. You're still giving them power over your inner state. True letting go means releasing all of it. The love and the hate, the hope and the resentment, the memories and the fantasies, all of it. And what you're left with is just this moment, right here, right now, with nothing in the way. What's described this state as being like water. Water doesn't hold onto anything. It flows around obstacles. It takes the shape of whatever container it's in, but it never loses its essential nature. And when you finally let go, really let go, you become like water. You can flow through life without getting stuck, without clinging to the banks, without trying to go upstream. But there's one more piece to this puzzle that I want to share with you. And it's something that what's talked about that I think is really important for anyone who's struggling to let go of a toxic relationship. He said that the most difficult things to let go of are the things we think we need. And in relationships, this shows up as the belief that we need another person to make us whole, that there's something missing in us that only they can fill, that without them, we're incomplete. This is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. And it's a lie that gets reinforced constantly by movies, by songs, by almost everything in our culture. The idea of a soulmate, the idea of the one, the idea that true love means finding the person who completes you. But what's would ask, if you're incomplete without someone else, then what were you before you met them? A half person walking around waiting to be finished? That doesn't make any sense. You were always whole. You've always been whole. The feeling of incompleteness isn't because you're actually missing something. It's because you've been looking in the wrong place. You've been looking outside yourself for something that can only be found inside. You've been trying to fill a hole with another person when the hole itself is an illusion. And the more you try to fill it, the emptier it seems. Because you can't fill something that isn't really there. When you truly see this, when you really understand it not just intellectually but in your bones, something shifts. You stop needing other people in the same desperate way. You can still love them. You can still enjoy being with them. But you're not trying to extract something from them anymore. You're not trying to complete yourself through them. And here's the irony. When you get to that place, when you don't need anyone to complete you, that's when you can actually have a healthy relationship. Because you're not coming from a place of lack. You're not coming from a place of fear. You're coming from a place of overflow. You have so much to give because you're not trying to get anything back. The toxic relationship you're in right now, it's probably built on the opposite foundation. It's built on two people who are both incomplete, both trying to take from each other, both hoping the other person will fill the void they feel inside. And it never works. It can't work because you can't give what you don't have, and you can't receive what you're not open to. So the real work isn't about the other person at all. It never was. The real work is about you. It's about discovering that you were whole all along. It's about removing the masks you've been wearing, the stories you've been telling, the fears you've been running from. It's about coming home to yourself. And I know that sounds like a lot. I know it sounds overwhelming. But here's what Watts would want you to know. You don't have to figure it all out today. You don't have to have all the answers right now. All you have to do is take the next step. And the next step might just be pausing, breathing, noticing what you're feeling without trying to change it. That's it. That's where it starts. Not with some big dramatic decision. Not with burning bridges or making declarations. Just with awareness. Just with presence. Just with being here, right now, exactly as you are. Because the truth is, you've been holding on to someone who hurts you not because you're weak or stupid or broken. You've been holding on because you're human. Because this is what humans do when they're scared and confused and lost. And the way out isn't to beat yourself up about it. The way out is to understand it, to see it clearly, to shine a light on all the hidden reasons and watch them dissolve in that light. AlanWatts spent his whole life trying to help people see this, trying to help people wake up from the dream they've been living in. And his message was always one of compassion and hope. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just a little confused. And the confusion can be cleared up, not through effort and struggle, but through seeing, through understanding, through letting go. So I want to leave you with a question, and I want you to really sit with it. Don't answer it right away. Just let it be there. Let it do its work. The question is this: what would you do if you knew, really knew, that you were already whole, that you didn't need anyone to complete you, that the love you've been searching for was already inside you, waiting to be discovered? What would change? Who would you become? And who would you let go of? Think about that. Really think about it. Because your answer might just be the key to everything you've been looking for. If this helped you see something new, hit subscribe because there's a lot more coming that you won't want to miss.